have in my hand here this very compact box here, and it's a single arm support bracket for mounting televisions. Now the range in this television is actually excellent. It goes from 13 inches all the way up to a 37-inch TV, and the flexibility that comes with this bracket is also superb. So what I'm going to do now is just put down the box here, and I'm just going to cover the contents that come with this. I'm going to cover down what televisions it will suit, and also go through the mounting process and the type of range of movement you can achieve with this television. So inside we have this user manual which we see here. We also have this bracket here which will mount on the wall. We have this bracket here that will connect onto the back of the television itself. We have these adapters here which can change the range of the size of the television it can handle, and also we have these screws and plugs here for mounting the bracket onto the wall, and also these different size bolts here which will be used for attaching the bracket onto the television. So this bracket design here, and indeed all TV brackets, make use of the VISA standard. So if we come along here and we've got a measuring tape, we can see here that the inner holes here are exactly 75 millimeters apart, center to center. The outer holes are 100 millimeters apart. So that's the VISA 75 and 100 standard. And if we use these extra tabs here via these screws and nuts here, or bolts and nuts, we can actually add on these face plates here, and we can extend it out so the outer holes here are exactly 200 millimeters apart. So if you go and you have a television and you're wondering will this suit it, well, a good guide of course will be the 13 to 37 meter range. But if you look on the back of the television like we have here, we can see here that we have holes that are exactly 75 millimeters apart. So if we come along here, we can slide them over, and we can actually line up all four corner holes here perfectly. Okay, so when we go to attach this bracket onto the television, we've two choices here. We can come along and simply use these short bolts here, such as this, or we can come along and we can use these longer bolts. And the reason you'd use the longer bolts is if we were in a tight space and we wanted to move the television out from the wall, this would be particularly true of larger televisions, we can actually come along and we can put these offsets in on the four corners. Okay, so what we would do here generally is, just to show you the basic assembly process here, what we would do is we'd come along, we just put this in the corner, we take up the only tool we need at this point, which is a Phillips screwdriver, and we come along and we simply screw it into position like that, and we repeat the process for all four corners. Okay, now what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to show this bracket which we had assembled earlier. Okay, and this is for a larger television which we have here. So this is a 32-inch TV that I might be interested in mounting on a wall. So if we wanted to come and use this, I just actually grab one of these bolts here. Apologies now. So what we'll do here is we'll actually come along, and we can see here we can get the holes to line up with the four different corners. So this can actually handle this 32 and indeed a 37-inch TV without much difficulty. Now the one thing to note here is that these bolts that we're using here, they are not suitable for this here, so you might actually need to get some bolts, but they may indeed come with the television itself, so you just want to check that. Okay, now coming to the actual mounting on the wall itself, what I'm going to do at this point is I'm just going to show you the bracket here that we mounted on the wall. When we went to mount this, we used the plugs and bolts I showed you earlier, and we used this spirit level here to actually allow us to mount it square on the wall. So we'll see we have a good movement here. We can rotate this 180 degrees here, and when we have this out here, we can actually rotate this almost 360 degrees around. Okay, about 320 degrees rotation. So the next thing here is actually to get this TV, which is now fully assembled for us, and what we'll do is we come along and we simply slide it into position here. Okay, so now we can see what we're able to do is we're able to rotate it left and right. So the distance from the wall, we don't quite have the full 180 degrees, but pretty close to it. Now the larger the television, the less room to play you'll have here, but we can also tilt the television up to that level. We can tilt the television down. Now there's two things I want to show you here on the back. The first thing here is if we want to make this tighter in terms of less movement in it, we can come along, and underneath here we have a Phillips screw, and we simply come along and we put the screwdriver in here, and a Phillips, or we use our Allen key on top. This Allen key of course comes with the kit, and we can lock it there just not to lock it tight, but to actually just make the movement of it less easy, so it's more of a fixed position on it. And repeat the process here. And also then what we can do is we can use the Allen key here to actually tighten this bolt in. And what we can actually do here is we can lock this sliding part into position. So if somebody comes along and pushes up on the television, they won't be able to knock it off the wall. And the final part of this is we can actually come along and we have a small plastic insert which you can see here. And what I can actually do is I can push this into the front. It just pushes into this guide hole below, and it'll actually just stop. It's another thing to stop it being pulled out of position, because the last thing we want is somebody to accidentally push the television out. So as you can see anyway, this is a pretty cool bracket in terms of it gives loads of versatility. It covers a full range of televisions, and it covers a full range of movements as well. So you can imagine here that if you were had a bed at some distance away and things like that, you might just want to tilt it down to an exact angle like that. So that's the one arm support bracket available on tvtrade.ie.